Holy shit. Welcome to From This Point Forward, a comedy Buffalo Sabres podcast. What a game one. I was going to say two already. I was going to get there. What a game. We all have our own stories. We were all at the game in that environment. That's like the main thing to talk about, but we got so much more to talk about. We'll go through the rest of the playoffs, see what's coming here for the Sabres, and just talk about that awesome environment. Let's go.
Let's acknowledge the fact that in one of your favorite movies of all time, you thought the slogan was "Ducks quack forever" instead of "Ducks fly together."
No,
so it's
you also
bad.
think they live in wells. It's the whole theme of the movie, Lou. But he had the duck call.
They go quack.
It would be Malcolm Subban, mostly because that one season where instead of letting him play for the Sabres for the last game of the year, they had him sing the national anthem. And it was a real, like, you're under contract, the season is over. We know you've only gotten to be up here a couple of times. How about you come back up here? Oh, great, I'll put my pads in the car. No. You won't need them. Just make sure you warm up the pipes when you're driving down the 90.
Mitch Marner.
You heard it, Mitch. If you want to sign here, you can drill Ryan's mom.
What is up? I got my rally towel in. I get the sunglasses are for two reasons. One, a little high, but two, also don't know how many times I'm going to cry tonight. I cry. Hopefully all the tears are out yesterday. I cried more times than I'm comfortable as a 42-year-old adult at a hockey game. I will say that, but we will get into that. I mean, guys, what an atmosphere. I think that's where we need to start. We were all there separately. Chris, let's start with you. What was your experience like yesterday? Atmosphere alone.
Oh, was I just disappointed to not be at the Battle of Pennsylvania the night before? No, we got robbed of the Saturday primetime spot, but it was all worth it for that magical Sunday night yesterday. I mean, I got into the arena late at like 6:50, and there was nobody in line to get in. There was nobody in line at any of the food stands. The bathroom lines were empty because 18,000 strong were already in their seats swinging their rally towels. And the best part about that pregame is we got in late, and our rally towels were still on the back of our chairs when we got in there. Salt of the earth people. What a night just to kick things off.
Well, not so much luck for me in section 123. Some two schmucks had already taken our rally towels, but you know what? Probably going tomorrow, and some other poor unfortunate soul is going to have to deal with me taking two extras so that I can get the from. No, I'm just kidding.
You leave them a note. Sorry, somebody.
Yeah. Somebody else did this to me. Yeah, pay it back, pay it forward, do it to somebody else. I'd want to describe for the audience, what it was like in there, in a couple of different ways. Number one, for many years, right, we talked and we kind of joked about the Sabres blowing, like almost every main presentation thing, they would screw it up. I mean, they couldn't get the names right on the jerseys. I mean, the ceremonies were just the worst. I mean, And lately, I mean, they've obviously done such a better job in recent years. I mean, the Hashtag ceremony was perfect. You know, the Miller night, RJ night, a huge success. Reunion nights have been big, but like they nailed the production of last night in so many ways. I mean, Tooth coming down from the rafters. It's obvious stuff, but they checked all the boxes to bring you that nostalgia. I mean, getting back in that building for playoff atmosphere, that's special. You know, you know what that would feel like, but they surrounded you with all the other stuff that, you know, made you remember why you were a Sabres fan. And that was like the touch for me, that like when I'm watching the intro video and they're going through the songs, and then they get Better Days, and you know, I just it's very powerful to have been in there. And you know, I'm so excited about like the prospects of the playoffs too. Like I'm not trying to like get too far ahead of ourselves, but like you walk in for that atmosphere, they come back and win the game like that. I have a hard time not just like, you know, hey, 15 more to go, you know, like let's do this. I mean, this is doable now. I mean, I know it wasn't the perfect game by any means, but they got the job done, and that's all I care about. So man, what a night.
Before I go into my story, do you think you would feel any different? I was thinking about this today. If we won just a simple, boring 3-1 game, would you have any more or less optimism than you do today because of how they came back and won that game? Like, does anything change?
No, I kind of knew they had this in them. For me, I was never over, you know, I never thought it was over. I mean, at any point, they never were too far away. I mean, they were out shooting them. And they've shown an ability to be able to do this. I mean, we've had games like this throughout the season where it's like, yeah, you can't count out the Sabres because they can, you know, they can turn it on quick. And they just, the train started rolling, and it just was not going to stop. Like they just barreled through for the last 8 minutes. And I don't know, it's chills thinking about that.
Yeah, truly. And if that gave you chills, like I got to share my story. I know some of you guys, or I know you guys maybe got little bits and pieces of it yesterday. I know we were texting, and then my whole day was so crazy that, of course, you know, I get down there with like 40% on my phone. I'm in like the coolest situation I've ever been in my life and don't have a charge, to the point where like during the intermissions, like I was seeking out charging ports and just standing there in like corners like a retard. I did, you know, an R word. Jeez, have to edit that later. But just so dumb. And, so I couldn't share everything with you guys the way I wanted to, but so I start heading down there with the mindset. I told you guys I had no ticket. For those of you that have listened, don't know, 30-year season ticket holder, gave them up this year. This would have been the first time I had not been to a playoff game since 1993. So I was like, I'm going to find a way in there. Lucky as hell. On the way down, I was checking all day. There was a couple opportunities earlier in the day. Turns out later in the day that I'm on the train, and one pops up face value on Ticketmaster. I hit it that second. Get lucky as hell. I'm in the fourth row. I get there. I mean, I don't belong in the fourth row. Just doctors all around me. It was the best, but it was so cool. I'm literally two seats in from the Sabres bench. Really cool environment. And I did get in an altercation, almost an altercation. This is the new Louis. There was an old guy when I got there standing in front of me. He was probably in like his 60s, and for warm-ups, but I just assumed that was his seat. And then like two girls came to like sit down, and he was like kind of hovering over one of their seats, and she was like, "Oh, that's just my seat." And he was like, basically, like, I don't know if he called her toots, but it was like, "Don't worry, hon, it's only a few more minutes." And I was like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But then, like, you could see she was upset. I like tapped her. I go, "Do you know him?" And she was like, "No." And so I tapped him on the shoulder. I go, "Dude, where are your seats?" And he was like, "Oh, over there." And I was like, "I think it's time to go." He's like, "Oh, no, she don't care." And I was like, "No, she does." You're in her seat. And he was like, I was like, "This is what kids do. 8-year-olds do this. You're 60, bro. Go get your seats for warm up." And then he did because I'm scary, intimidated. I was wearing these sunglasses. That might have been why. What, Chris? Yeah, I see what you-
I just love that as long as he's collecting Social Security, you will step in and say something.
100%. If that, I swear to God, I had that thought. Like, if it was 10 years younger, I was gonna be like, sorry, honey.
There was a 24-year-old.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like,
And you're
sorry,
like,
honey,
one other thing. Let me give your generation a piece of my mind here while I'm at it. Let me talk to you about boomers real quick.
Oh, it was so cool though. I was so cool in that moment. But so now, fourth row, crying. I mean, tears. Everyone's waving their towels, and I'm using mine to just wipe the tears off my face, bawling. Because first game I haven't been with my father, playoff game, yada yada, all the emo stuff. I'm losing it. I got 18-year-old Doogie Howser standing next to me. He's like this doctor did whatever. He was with his whole doctor family, and he puts his hand. I wanted to punch him so bad. Puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, "I get it, man. I'm getting emotional too." I want to be like, "Shut up! You don't even get it. It's not the hockey that's getting me emotional." So I told him the story, and he said, "You know what, man? He's probably here watching with you." And I was like, "I'm gonna punch this kid. He was trying to be my best friend." 2 hours later, I didn't know that we'd be jumping each other's arms for 20 minutes straight. But so we get there, first commercial break, 11:11. Signed from my dad, right? That's it. We always saw the ones. I was like, oh, this is great. Even more emo, probably more tears. But it was at that moment that I realized that the seat next to me never filled. I was like, I was so caught up in the game that I didn't realize the seat next to me never filled. Never ended up filling. Like, so crazy how I got the ticket, fourth row ticket in the building where no one could get into, just sits there empty. I was like, that's it. My father finally did something good. And he sat there at the game with me, gave me some little extra leg space, and I got a little good juju,
That's a really nice story, Louis. And I know that in a couple of years it's going to change, and you're going to tell the story that you bought an extra ticket for your dead father so that he could go to the game with you.
That would have been so much better. You think I'm going to wait a few years? That story changes tomorrow. I have a Facebook post about this. I'm going to edit it right now.
All right, restart the podcast.
I know. Okay. I said the R word. Now this. Let's just.
Louis, you tried to fight the former troop who was getting a jersey because he was taking up somebody's seat. Then you got mad. You got mad at an 18-year-old who just wanted to comfort this lonely psychopath bawling his eyes out, who wanted to defend his family because he didn't know what you were going to do because you were so emotional.
The best about that is, what if he was like the serviceman of the game?
That's him.
I'm gonna beat him up. Literally 20 minutes later, the whole stadium is standing.
They're doing a montage. He's like the greatest. He's got like a purple heart.
Oh, it's so good. Outside of my emo story, Chris Drury. I don't know if either of you were in the building for that. That might be the closest I've ever heard to it being that loud. I mean, it was. And when you sit lower, you expect it to be a little bit more boring, and maybe you're like, oh, maybe it is louder because I know it's louder in the 300s and whatever it rises. It was loud where I was, and I was like, well, if you're feeling it here, it's got to be just insane. It was the loudest.
Well,
you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's very close. I still probably would have when Drury scored as like the loudest I ever remember it being, but
I think so.
It's just like, watching and sitting around and seeing all the people there, like everybody was cheering too. Everybody was loud. Everybody was engaged in the game. And then the other thing I noticed too is watching today back some of the highlights and the replays between the MSG and the ESPN broadcast. First of all, ESPN needs to get their stuff together because they're doing such a bad job with pretty much everything so far in this playoffs. I mean, there was even watching here earlier tonight, and they're doing an interview with Mikko Rantanen, and they're doing this thing where they're like walking down a hallway and the camera is like wiggling, and like I'm like, what are we doing? What is this? This does not look any more natural. Just sit the guy down. Like, what? I can't understand. And then they're stifling the crowd noise a little bit too on the broadcast. So when the
Yeah.
MSG broadcast, you can hear it. I mean, it pops. It is so much better than the ESPN one, which is a shame for the national audience. But it was just, yeah, it was so loud in there, Chris. I mean, obviously you can confirm that too.
I was up with the salt of the earth in the 300s, and it was it was loud everywhere in there. And I went through the same thing last night. I was thinking about it on Saturday. I spent the whole day Saturday watching those games, and it felt like every time a goal was scored, the audience mic was like shut down.
Yep.
So that you could hear the announcer give a really boring call to a goal. And watching those replays, it was like, this is absolutely nothing what it was like in there. And then when you see some of the talking heads talk, like, it got quieter to start the third. There was definitely tension in there, but it's like that crowd was as close to 100% Sabres fans as you could possibly
Oh
get
yeah.
on any given night. And there was not a moment where the arena gave up. Like, it got tense during the start of the third, but even then, the Let's Go Buffaloes, even the frustrated boos during the power play debacle for that last power play that they had where they could not get into the zone to save their lives. Like, that place was into this game locked in 100% the entire night and got rewarded for it.
I tweeted, like, I think through the second period or some point I was like, I'm so mad that Happert's going to be the next head coach of this team, but it's going to be because of the great power play that he has. Like, it's going to be what ultimately eliminates them. If when they get eliminated, the biggest thing we'll say is the power play. I guarantee.
If they make it deep enough to the spot where the refs put away the whistle, because some of those calls both ways yesterday, it was like, what are we doing? I noticed that on Saturday too. They were calling ticky-tack shit, and then two guys are clubbing each other in the face, and they're just like, nope, let it play. And it's like, what are we doing here?
I like that you I like that you said that, because it's just so crazy that we have to, like, wish that the refs put the whistle away so we don't go on power plays.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. We have one of the most offensively skilled teams in the league. I hate it.
I think they're going to figure it out.
Defer their 2-minute power play to 30 seconds at the end of the game, because we know they're the better team at 5-on-5. So then when they're up 1 or 2 goals at the end, then they can get like a man advantage just to lock down defensively. I'm working on it.
Thoughts about the talk about, I guess, the game itself here. Let's just go kind of most surprising. Let's start there. Most surprising thing to you that came out of game one. Rye, I'll start with you.
I'll say Stanley and Timmins looking as good as they did. I mean, that they, numbers backed it up. I think I saw that they had a, really, really high rating from this past game, and it looked like it, maybe it's funny. It's like when Stanley first got here, Timmins obviously wasn't healthy, and maybe this is the pairing. Maybe this is the match. As far as like other surprising things, I mean, it was a bit surprising. Like I kind of was expecting them to just take control right away and just like kind of dominate them, but maybe that's tomorrow night or another game this series. I still think they have that in them, like a 5-1 type of win against this team. So, the shots back, the shots were there. So I guess I was surprised that they didn't just like run away with it, even though I know it's playoff hockey and that's sometimes rare.
Chris,
I guess I don't really know. I don't feel like I was overly surprised by anything yesterday. It kind of, there was definitely some nerves, some nervous energy out of the guys that you thought there was going to be. There was a couple of times on his first couple of shifts where Owen Power went into his like short circuit mode. I'm not going to pass the puck even though a guy is wide open. I want to say probably the most surprising thing was like that was kind of what everybody's worry was for this first game, because there are a few guys on this team like Luukkonen can be a nervous guy at times. Power gets that way. That none of those little blips hurt the team at all, really. Like you could say like UPL was loose in that first period, and that first goal, I'm sure he saves it 9 out of 10 times, but that was also bad bounce. Like they were playing I think they got no puck luck in the first 2 periods of the game. That was probably the most surprising thing. They weren't playing bad, but like every bounce went the way they didn't want it to go.
Yeah, I think I think for me is like, I knew that they were probably going to want to respond to Marco Sturm's comments, but I would have never expected 53 hits, and the most they've had in a game since 2010 is insane. Tuck alone had 4 more hits in this game than he's had in any game in his career, regular season or playoff. Like
he's a dog,
hits.
man. He's a dog. I loved him last night. He deserved that empty net goal. Tage obviously was such a huge piece, and then Sammy getting another goal for us. It's just like that was a pretty good script to write. Of some of the, just given the history with the fans, right? Everyone kind of giving Sammy a hard time, to him to come through like that. Just very powerful. That was great.
So cool. I mean, and things happened on that third goal, that Zucker's screen on that play is not being given like enough credit on that play. Of course, Quinn makes the great pass. I think it was Lowry that broke his stick behind the net. Maybe it was Lindholm. But whatever, broke his stick behind the net that allowed Samuelsson to move down, because Zaka gives Lindholm his stick, and then Samuelsson's kind of able to move in. So Quinn makes a great pass to see him. Obviously, Sammy takes a great shot, but Zucker's screen on that is like perfect. Swayman never saw it.
Yep, he's a very smart player. It's nice having a veteran in the locker room for games like that. I know that stuff actually does matter when it comes down to it. So it was good having him. I guess another surprising moment, Connor Geeky not taking that shot with the open net.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
that was like I couldn't believe it.
You look at the still images now, and it's crazy. Like there's just. How bad is your peripheral vision there? Like, there's just no way you didn't see it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was so.
Well, I think he had already decided that he was going to try for the pass. That's the guys can get cursed with that sometimes. I think we've had guys over the years that have just been the refusal to shoot the puck. Even Benson was doing that for a while. I think when he was earlier this season, where it's like, dude, you can score, shoot the puck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about most disappointing player, if you had to pick one? I'll start with you this first time, Chris.
I mean, that's a tough one, because it feels like in portions of the game, everybody had a little bit of struggle. Okay, this is a weird one.
Oh God.
But and this may lead into a discussion that I was thinking about having for this. John, do you want Tanner Pearson in 4th line center over Josh Dunn for this next game? Yeah. Because he did not look like he fit in on that 4th line. Like when they were getting a cycle together, he was stone hands. He was heavy footed. It was a bummer that when, like, after that first goal and after the second goal, Lindy sends out the 4th line, try and get a offensive zone cycle. put a little pressure on, maybe something happens, and Dunn just looked out of place last night.
Yeah, I wouldn't even hate Kozak at this point as a little bit different. I think they've looked a little bit better with Kozak, but I 100. I mean, I don't want to be complaining about the fourth line center too much, but it is such a change when we're 3 weeks removed from Carrick, being absolutely perfect in that role. But I noticed it too, and I think every team probably has a fourth line player that's not NHL worthy. And, he's not it. And if Carrick's that guy, we have probably a full roster of NHL worthy forwards. But I kind of feel similar. I wonder what they'll do when Ostlund comes back. Obviously, Dunn gets probably Greenway just moves to center. And I wonder if they don't throw Krebs back down there. Because who do you put in? Who do you put in from the top 9 right now? Who would you put in on your quote unquote fourth line? That's a really good conversation.
I think it would probably be Krebs because he's the most, and I'll give him a compliment here. He's the most versatile guy in the lineup that he can play pretty much in any spot. So that would make the most sense. I don't really have it. I think Chris has a good call out for Dunn. Dunn has never really impressed me at any point this season. He doesn't just, he's a jag, right? He's just a guy. And I think that, credit to Yarmo because I don't think the plan was for Josh Dunn to ever see any playoff action because that's why he goes out and gets Carrick and, he figures he's going to have Greenway getting healthy, all that stuff. And it worked out other than Carrick getting hurt. That was the most glaring part for me last night too, is that fourth line, ever since Carrick went down, it's missing. It's not the same. Like when Carrick was in that line, even just in the short time he was here, I mean, I know he was scoring goals, but the whole line was just buzzing. Like they were out there and it was just like, oh my God, Beck Malenstein's coming to knock your head in. They're flying out there. You have a guy that all 3 of them can score. I mean, yeah, it's really disappointing. He's not going to be available for this series. And based on, I think, what Paul Hamilton was saying on GR, it doesn't sound like there's a lot of optimism for maybe even the rest of the series if they continue to advance. But it's hard to be critiquing when you can find a way to get a win when you're down 2 goals with 8 minutes to play. I'm not going to criticize anyone else. Just a quick shout out too for most impressed player. I thought one of them last night, but Jack Quinn. I mean, his assist on that goal was huge. He has just been playing so well, and it makes me happy to see that because I know you do have room for, and we've talked about this, but you do have room for one streaky sniper goal scorer guy, and I think he's starting to show some other parts of his game, which is maybe what we hadn't considered there being a possibility of. If he seemed like a very one-dimensional player, and at least last night and for the past couple of weeks, I feel like he has really improved his game, and I think he's getting rewarded by the coaching staff for that.
Totally agree. A couple thoughts. I kind of agree with you guys on Dunn, obviously, but I don't want to shit on how Greenway played yesterday. And he's one of my least favorite players and one of my favorite players to shit on, but he had a really good game. He looked faster yesterday. And I think he was really good carrying the puck into the zone on that fourth line entries and making something out of those shifts. I was impressed, and I know maybe some of it is that I was that close and maybe felt his speed a little bit more, but I feel like I've heard it from other people today that he just looked faster. I want to give that some credit. And then you said something else. Oh, I 100% on Quinn. I do think I agree with you there. My disappointing players would have been, I thought you guys would have said one of them, so I'll say both. But Owen Power obviously had a rough time, and I'm not the only one thinking about it because obviously the coach did too. He played like a little bit over 15 minutes, I think, which was the lowest amount he's played since October or something. So the coach realized he was struggling, and definitely Stanley and Timmons got a lot more time. And then Norris he had 2 goals on his stick that he just couldn't handle. And then, the giveaway that leads to the early breakaway as well. He had a horrible game. And again, probably not seen on TV or even from your guys' vantage points, but he came to the bench one time and cracked his stick right over the bench, like pissed off and like and was really, really mad. So he was struggling, and he knew he was struggling. Even on the face-off circle, within the face-off circle, they were 50-50, which I thought was a little surprising when I looked back at that. But it seemed like he wasn't winning his. I should go back and look at those stats before I just say that. But
during the game, the face-offs, like I was watching that on the board, and it did not ever feel like they won a face-off.
No, it was 50-50, but I've kind of left feeling that way and was surprised to see those stats this morning. The Tage goal, the second one, I don't know if you guys have been able to see it because I didn't notice this there. This is how many times you guys have watched it today. It looks like Zadorov like gets the tip of his stick to keep the puck on the ice. Like I think he's shooting high glove there. And that's kind of, and I think he was, the goalie was reading that, Swayman was reading that, and that's why he lifts his leg. But Zadorov looks like he just catches the blade of his stick, and that's kind of why it just like falls off of his stick instead of goes, and we get lucky there as
Gotta love Zadorov being loyal to the crest after all these years.
He like finally a big goal for him. All right, so we what's our thoughts here the rest of the series? But is Boston able to recover from this? Obviously, the Sabres are the better team, even up to 2-0. And like you said, Ryan, like I think the optimism was on that bench. I think it was in the crowd. Like, yeah, sure, we all thought that could happen, but now after a win like that, I'm like, that just has to be it for. I mean, that was.
I think I think that they needed to, kind of eke out a win in game one to put a little doubt into the Sabres, and I think that because they basically did the opposite and they gave them a ton of confidence that they could do anything, it's as good as over in my opinion. I don't know if tomorrow will be that blowout game or if it's going to be later in the series. I do think it's coming, and it's yeah. I mean, I'm optimistic about the rest of the series. I mean, tomorrow they might also too feel like a little bit of pressure taken off now after getting that first game out of the way. You have high expectations, right? You're the home team, first playoff game in 14 years, and so you're you got a lot of pressure to win that game, and they got it done. So now they might just say, all right, now we can play a little bit more loose. Maybe it's not as much next game about the physicality, and they go back to their style of hockey. So yeah, I mean, all systems go for the Sabres here.
Chris, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, when we talked on Saturday, I felt good about this series going in. I think yesterday made me feel better. I don't necessarily think it means Boston's done. I expect a blowout game in this series, but I think it's when you get closer to clinch time, that game 4, game 5 area, because they did the thing that we used to hate the Sabres for not doing, where it was like they got a lot. They didn't get consistent opportunities, but they were getting a lot of right on the nets, close chips, close shots. Swayman was killing them for 2 periods, and they didn't pack it up and just go like they went full gas 3rd period, and I think that's what they need to close this out. I don't see Boston being able to compete against when they decide to just hit the pedal.
Yeah. We didn't talk about this. I feel like we all had Sandra Jennerette pretty high on our list for who would have banged the drum game 1. I think we had that conversation. So I think that was a good choice. No one be surprised. Seems pretty likely that our boy Josh Allen's going to be in the building tomorrow doing it for game 2. I see your thoughts. My uncle feels the same way. My uncle said, keep the football team's juju out of there. And I don't know if I disagree. Is that what you're thinking there, Chris?
I mean, a little bit of that. I also really thought that game 1 should have been Brad Boyce, but here we are. We have to live with our choices sometimes. He's finally free from his genie curse. He can rest. He doesn't
Dude,
have to
how
grant any more Buffalo wishes.
I swear to God, the only solace I got in the third period where we don't have a goal is that I got to fucking tweet out the Brad Boys tweet again. I was like, the Brad Boys tweet will hit so hard tomorrow if they get
No
shut
longer
out.
evergreen.
Dude, oh my God. That's all I thought about was the likes. I swear to God. I was like, that's the only thing. If they're going to lose, get shut out because that Boys tweet is going to hit like crack tomorrow. And I'm glad that Boys is no longer that guy. I'm back and forth on whether or not I want Josh there. I will feel like if Josh is the guy and the game goes into overtime, everybody could just go home, right? Like we know what's gonna happen then. So I don't know, man. Right.
I don't hate it at all. I love it. I mean, it makes a ton of sense to me. He's such a lovable guy. I understand, Bills and Sabres fans are funny. Like there are some fans that like like I feel like some people think you can only be a fan of one of the two teams. You have to like shit on the other team. You like, if you're a Sabres fan, you'd be like, fuck the Bills. Like, no. I'm fine with I don't like when it's like very forced partnership stuff where it's like, oh, this is that, and we're always here, and the GM's getting together. I don't need Brandon Bean, hanging out with Kevin Adams or Yarmo. I don't care about that. All right.
Yeah.
But if it's a player, I'm fine with somebody coming to the game that obviously is going to get everybody fired up. Like he would have been a likely choice for game one. It's just like, makes sense. He's the biggest, Buffalo athlete we have. I mean, bar none. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm cool with it. I'm happy he's there. And he's a new dad too. He needs a little time out of the house. All right. He's probably got late nights. So yeah, he needs a little break here.
My favorite suggestion was on WGR. They did a draft of all the names that it could be throughout the playoffs and like saying they're keeping score and stuff. But one of the suggestions was Lindy Ruff doing it. And I just imagine him doing it and then like crawling through the crowd to get back to the bench. Just like, like going seat to seat, like row to row, just doing the leg around people. People have to stand up and move back as Lindy's going through the rows.
Excuse me. Excuse me, I gotta get back to the bench.
Yeah. He's pointing.
Thanks, guys.
He's pointing to the bench the whole time, like people don't know where he's heading. Excuse me, gotta go over there. So funny. Thoughts here on? I don't know, Chris. I feel like all game ones went the way that I felt like the series were gonna go. I might be wrong. But Bri, you weren't part of that show on Saturday to give us some thoughts, so we could kind of run through all that stuff. But starting with you, out west, I don't know. Saw now Colorado, I think, is up 1-0 in that series. Yeah.
Yep.
And thoughts? Think there's any upset potential there? Or that's just
no. Lock that one in. It's Colorado over the Kings. No question. They're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, we both felt that pretty confidently on the podcast Saturday.
I thought they might be able to make a little bit more of a series of it, but they did not look good yesterday.
Yeah, I felt like that was like maybe their best chance, is of coming out early and stealing one. And I don't know. They both had, I am wondering if the Wedgwood thing isn't going to be what brings Colorado down. They've just never prioritized goaltending. I know that that's kind of how I've always stressed that team should be built, but I don't know how good he is. But they do have a competent backup too. So who knows? But I just wonder if goaltending's not what's going to get Colorado. I just don't think it's going to get it in the series. Vegas, Utah looked really good till the third period and kind of fell apart for him. I think I picked them in 7, Utah in 7. Chris, I think you picked Vegas. Ryan, thoughts on that series?
I'll give a nod to Vegas, but I think it's going to be a tight series. It's going to go 6 or 7, in my opinion. first game kind of showed me that. So it's tough to not get into the habit of making narratives just based on one game. Last year Dallas lost their first game; they got blown out in their first game, and then made a nice run. So yeah, I just don't see. It's good. It's kind of a coin flip. I just think Vegas is. I'll give them the nod because Eichel, and I just think they have more talent.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I that's what I said. I thought that the talent actually could be more comparable this year than it has in years past, but I just think the experience there is probably going to win that out for them. But see, Anaheim Edmonton starts tonight. I think I said this on Saturday, but it is so dumb that this league had a whole weekend of games and showcasing their best player on a Monday night at 10 p.m. for the first time. It's so dumb. This league is such a Mickey Mouse league when it comes to marketing. So crazy. I think the series is going to be all sorts of fun. I think Anaheim could definitely win. What do you think on Rye?
I mean, I'm obviously an Oilers bull here, so I'm not gonna go against my boy McDavid, but yeah, I mean, I love the Ducks. I definitely think they're a super fun team. To me, like, could they be a team that surprises and wins a couple games, makes a run? Sure, but they might also be like a year or so away. I would love to see it, I suppose. Get Connor McDavid as unhappy as possible is really my goal. So I should be rooting for the Ducks.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is going to be a fun series. It is a shame that nobody is really going to be watching. There's not going to be a lot of eyes on that game. I mean, tonight, I mean, I'm going to bed right after this. I'm still tired from yesterday. So like, yeah, unfortunately not going to be tuning into that, but it's going to be a good series, and I'll give the nod to Edmonton just because I think that they're better.
Yeah. Chris, you had similar thoughts on that, right? You had Edmonton winning that one?
Yes. I think the main thing was this has the possibility of I could see it going 4 games or I could see it going 7 games, but I could see every score being like 6-4.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot of that.
Yeah, that was this is old school hockey night in Canada, a West Coast foot race at 11 p.m.
I'm getting that vibe for tonight. Like, I think it might tighten up during certain games. I just think game one, like trying to set the tone, and these two teams are just known to be offensive and not very good defensively. I just wonder if like both teams don't want to just whip their dick out and be like, let's see who goes better here. And if tonight's not a 7-6 type of game.
So just very quickly, something very important popped up on the screen. I think it was a commercial with Jake Ottinger. Are you guys aware that guy is basically a spitting image of Charlie Kirk? I know my brain is like, rotted by the internet memes and stuff, but he looks just like Charlie Kirk. That was crazy.
I'm gonna look, but no, I did not know.
All right, let me know if you agree. Yeah. He looks like Charlie Kirk. I cannot be the first person. I'm gonna Google or
I want to say
search
during
Twitter.
The Olympics or something like that. I saw that somewhere, and I was
okay.
like, "Oh, yeah. Wow!" I guess I just never thought of it because he's always got his helmet on, and maybe Charlie could have used that.
He's lucky. But... No, yeah.
Well, maybe never mind. I was going down conspiracy theory. Not doing it. Nope. What about I said this series, I told on Saturday, Ryan, I said who won this series I thought would go to the finals, and that's Dallas and Minnesota. I think that's going to be a real fun series. Obviously, Minnesota dominated game 1. I did say that they'd win in 7, but I just think it's going to be I don't think that's how the series is going to go. I think it's going to be a really close, really fun series to watch.
I 100% agree. Yeah, that was not indicative of how I see everything going. I also was surprised. Is Gustafsson hurt, or did they just decide to start Wallstedt?
They just
Wow.
decided to go with Wallstedt.
Yeah.
That was kind of surprising to me based on how they handled this whole season. Like I was always
Yeah.
kind of waiting for them to turn it over to Wallstedt, and they really didn't do that. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, in the playoffs, he'll definitely be the 1B. But I mean, he
They-
played well. He didn't really get too tested, I'd say. I mean, but you're right. I do think that game goes, or that series goes 7. I like Minnesota to advance. I mean, I know you've been a big fan of the Stars. I know they're good, but Minnie just the move they made at the trade deadline to get Quinn was huge. Like they strike me as like an all-in team, and I think they have the skill to back it up. I mean, Kaprizov is obviously a stud, and they have really good depth throughout that lineup. So I'm kind of in on Minnesota now.
Well, if you had better listening skills, you would have known that I just said I picked Minnesota to win the series.
Oh, you
God,
did. Okay.
Brian.
Sorry.
Chris, I feel like you had Dallas in that series, but in a close one. Or
I
was
think
that-
I picked Dallas, but I thought that was another one that was going to go the distance or close to it. I thought Minnesota's best shot was if they stole one of the 2 games in Dallas up front, and I did not expect Minnesota to come out so hard Saturday, and I did not expect Dallas to be so flat
Yeah,
for the opening game.
yeah. I think once it got out of control, it was just like they almost, it almost looked like
Yeah.
they kind of just let it get away from 'em. But yeah, I think that goes the distance. But I do like Minnesota there. This Philly Pittsburgh series is going kind of the way that I predicted to on Saturday. They're 2 shitty teams. But my argument for Philly there was that they were playing playoff hockey here for a couple months before this, so they were just kind of still in that mode. Rye, do you think that this is going to change at all? Or, I mean, it's going to be kind of hard if they win 2 in Pittsburgh to think anything else is going to happen.
No, I kind of like Philly. I mean, not maybe even to win another series beyond this. Like they have that look of a team that has, that like plucky underdog team, right? That comes in, they're riding the wave. I mean, I just was listening to the broadcast earlier. They were, I think, 9 points out with like 2 weeks to play or something, and
Yeah.
so it was very long shot to even make it. And then not to mention Porter Martone, who looks to be a legit stud. Like he's a player, no question. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a little bit of an edge to him. He's unreal. Like he's got an unreal shot. I mean, that snipe in game 1 was ridiculous. Yeah, I think the Flyers are going to win in like 5. We'll say. I mean, I think the Penguins will steal a game because I don't think the Flyers are unbeatable. But
Yep. I like the Flyers going into this. Any thoughts to add on that, Chris?
I watched that game 1, and Pittsburgh is even worse than I thought they were. They just are not a good hockey team.
Where's Brian Russ been? What the hell?
I don't get. You want to know the worst thing about that Brian Russ trade? Sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent here. I mean, I know there was a lot of bad things, but the worst thing about it is that I talked about Jack Quinn as a throw-in, and man, since that mush of me, I think that's right about when he went on a tear. And like you said, the other night, I noticed I was so hockey dad coach mode because I was so close to the arena. I was trying to make eye contact with him and be like, dude, keep it up, man. You're doing good. That was I just wanted to give him that all right, Jackie, come on now. You got it. I like how you're skating. Keep it up. I felt so weird, but I definitely found myself trying to do that.
Philly just got an empty netter to seal it here too. So
I'm a little bit behind. So
sorry about that.
So
that's all right.
2-0. They steal 2 from Pittsburgh. In Pittsburgh, Sens Hurricanes. I mean, 2-2 in the third here. 10 minutes left. I thought the Senators played just as well with them in game 1. I picked them to win in 7, Ottawa. I still believe that they could. Obviously, this would be a very big win if they could pull this one out. But
Ooh.
thoughts as you're watching the game and
Oh man, Cousins just got drilled in the corner. Clean hit, but he's fine. But yeah, this is going to be a fun series, isn't it? I mean, the team's already like they hate each other. Kachuk's out there. He's just starting stuff at every turn. And I do kind of like the Senators here. I mean, I remember when we were talking, we were doing the power rankings. I was like, Carolina's not that good, and you're like, dude, they're so good. I'm like, no, they're not really that good. Are they the least impressive number one, seed in recent history? I feel like they are. I'm not really that impressed with their team. So maybe I'll be proven wrong. But I'm kind of I'm not like seeing it with them. Maybe it's just my longstanding hate for that organization going back to 05, 06 and everything. But I guess I shouldn't like Ottawa either. But we've always kind of had a better success against them, I feel like. So
okay. What about you, Chris? Where were you at on this series, and what did you think?
I mean,
so
this
far?
was the one that on paper I said these are the same team. Like, this is the most even matchup in my eyes. This was the one that shocked us because they called that first game 6.5 over.
Oh yeah, and you said
and I was like,
that.
be ready to win a lot of 2-1.
Yeah,
2-1 games. I think the only thing that really shocked me is that Carolina went with Freddie Anderson in net.
Oh, I didn't even know that they did that.
Yeah, but then I remembered he had an incredible run last year, and then he got hurt in like the second round, but he came on out of nowhere in the playoff times. So I can see why they're riding him.
I watched that game from a bar, and I had no idea that it wasn't Boosie. I just assumed it was him. Wow. And he played great. He had a good game, obviously. So he's back in there tonight too. See, what else are we at? We have Tampa Bay, Montreal. I didn't catch that game yesterday because I was down at the arena, so I didn't catch any of it. But I picked Montreal in 7. I think, Chris, you may have picked Tampa. But Rye, thoughts just on the series? And
yeah, I'm on Montreal here. I really like them. They're kind of like if of a team that I like, that, I mean, it's tough. They're in your conference and you're competing against them, but I like the players that they have there. I like the makeup of that team. So yeah, I think they're better than Tampa. Tampa has, I think, really struggled the last month or so of the season and kind of limped their way in a bit. So yeah, I'm going to take the team that's playing with a lot of confidence right now and has probably the best. Well, I guess Kucherov is probably the best player in the series, but followed very closely behind, in my opinion, by Caulfield. He's so good.
Yep. Chris, thoughts on that series?
I mean, I think what I rooted for most was whoever won to just go 7 games and beat the shit out of the other team. I think I deferred actually picking somebody and just rooted for 7 games and hard hitting. I only saw the first period, and it was kind of playing out how you hoped it would. Tampa Bay trying to throw the body around, and Montreal just making these old guys skate hard on worn legs. I'm excited for it. I like Montreal too, for a lot of the same reasons. Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky had a huge game. Yep. Their thing is goaltending, and we'll see how it shakes out for him. Dobis looked great. Serviceable for what they needed him for in that game. He was locked in. So
the second part of the season, he really turned it on. Like after the Olympic break, he's been excellent for them.
Yeah.
Who would you be more scared of?
Montreal.
Carolina or Tampa or Montreal? Like out of those 3?
Montreal. For me. I think they're the best of those 3 teams. I know, by the numbers you should probably say Carolina, but I think Montreal is the biggest threat to us right now, even though we're rolling. I think they're the best of that group.
Chris, out of those three,
I would probably say Montreal, Carolina, and Tampa last, and not to discount Tampa, but like
yeah.
Yep.
As series wear on, they would scare me less and less.
I think I'm with you guys, and then it feels like now we feel like we're through round one already after one win. And now the tough matchups round two. Screw whoever we play in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we're playing for the cup. Simple.
Listen, that's why I started off the show 15 wins. I'm thinking big, and I buried the lead here a bit because I have one story to share. Before we get to the last series here, I didn't tell you guys. I did send a picture. Nobody picked up on this, but I found my way to a beer saber last night.
Oh yeah! Wait, how did that happen?
So I, of course, did not get a retail beer saber from a reasonable for a reasonable price. But there was this woman walking by yesterday. I was talking with my buddies, and we're talking about how much we wanted a beer saber, and I said I'd pay $100 for that easily right now. He's like, I'll give you $100 if you can get her to sell it to you for $200. And so he has his other buddy, and she said, we'll give you $200 for that. And she said, really? It's full of rosé too. And she's like, we're like, yeah. And I was like, I don't have any cash on me. He's like, I was like, do you take Venmo? And she's like, yeah, I do. He's like, my buddy's like, I got cash. Just let me give her the cash, and here you go. And so we bought a beer saber for $200 last night.
Did you get the rosé as well?
Of course we did. Yes. Yeah, that was part of the deal. That was part of the deal. It stayed with it.
Okay.
Like her lipstick on the end of the beer.
No, it was a really good,
clean
clean beer saber. No marks, no dings, no breaks. I mean, and this thing is pretty solid. I got to give him credit. I thought they would be like, when you're holding it, you're like, it weighs like, half of a pound. It's actually got some weight to it. It's decent.
Substantial.
Yeah.
I don't think.
And I made the rookie mistake. Anyone who's taken a drink out of the beer saber knows. First time you do it, fucking spill it all over yourself because you're like, oh, there's no way it can come out this fast. Just all over my fucking face, jersey, everything. So
gravity isn't real.
Yeah.
I won't name the name of the establishment, but one that was close to the arena that I stopped by after the game. There was people literally they were pouring drinks for him into the beer sabers. Like they were
amazing.
Dude, insane. I love this city. I love this team. I love this mania right now. It's just awesome.
And on that point, can we please talk about how amazing the rollerblading guys were with the punching dummy in the thing? I laughed so hard when I saw that guy tackle the dummy. Like, it was so good.
So good. And they're going to be a thing. I think they already said that they're going to be there every game now. So awesome. They're going to become a thing. Could you imagine? Did you see that little, there's the video obviously of a decent amount of people. But now that they're a thing, that thing went viral. There was going to be 5,000 people around them tomorrow. I guarantee you, watching this shit.
And can you imagine how crazy it's going to be down there when we actually have a nice weather game?
Oh my God.
It's so unfortunate that both days ended up being kind of lousy weather-wise. What, Saturday and Sunday? Saturday is still raining. I mean, no, it was warmer, but yeah, when we get a sunny Canal Side game, I mean, look out. Like, it's gonna be unreal.
Yeah, that will be the one game that maybe I won't mind sitting out
sure,
because of how great it'll be out there. But that's it for this week. We'll be back probably next Monday, depending if we have to do one, maybe do one sooner or later, but we'll try to just do it next Monday here. 9:00 for Chris and Ryan. I'm Louis G. Let's go Sabres. See you next week.